Fantastic. Hey, everybody. Welcome. It is Friday night. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. And you know what that means? It's time for the Asea 5. So I'm Dr. Maureen Hayes from Galveston, Texas. And I am joined
It's
by
5 o'clock somewhere.
5 o'clock somewhere. Get your wine out. I'm having coffee so I can stay awake. Anyway, I've got Jim from from San Antonio, Texas. Jim is our money man, and his beautiful wife Ann is a personal trainer and nutritionist. And we also have Dr. Lee Osler from the state of Washington. He's our dentist extraordinaire and the author of Redox Matters. If you haven't gotten your copy, please go to redoxmatters.com and get it. It's the most eloquent and simple explanation of redox signaling, and something that you can hold in front of you as armor for those people who don't believe that something made from salt water from Salt Lake City could be so powerful. And we're joined tonight, we just lost one, but by a couple of our friends from down under. We have Dan Doyle here, one of our brand new, he has hit a rank, you guys, that only 3 people have done so far in the history of our company. Just amazing feat. And it's all because of his conviction, because of what these products have done for him personally. And he felt like he was on a mission from God to get the word out and to share it with as many people all over the world as he could. And my gosh, he has done such an incredible job. He's now living in Los Cabos, Mexico, but he's here with us tonight to share. And Lourene Bevaart is on here. She's a triple diamond from Australia, amazing woman. I heard her story a few years back. It brought me to tears. She has an incredible background, including being the personal trainer. I'm so jealous to Russell Crowe when he was training for the Gladiator. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So you know what? We're going to do ladies first. Lorraine, I know you're
She's available, yeah.
Yeah, so while you're available, we want to let you get back to your family as soon as possible. So come on and share, girl. Tell us where you were. There. Yeah, hi, good to see you. Yeah, go take us back, Lorraine. Take us back to where you were when you first got introduced, what was happening in your life, what you experienced, and what it has done for you.
Oh, wow. So we'll take it back to 2014, and I was a single mom with 2 babies. They were 1 and 3. I was probably a little bit older then, and I was struggling financially and emotionally, and I was looking for something to do because I wanted to be in a position or have a role where I could experience milestones that I was going to achieve, whether it was at schooling or a sporting activity. I wanted to be that mum. So for me to be a personal trainer or go back to the corporate fitness world wasn't the answer. And no, I was still really struggling. I wasn't in a good place. I just felt flat. Felt a bit sorry for myself, I suppose you could say. And then Dan Doyle rang me up and said, Lorraine, let's catch up. And I thought we'd just catching up as good friends and a coffee in a cafe. And it was great to see him. And then at the end of the conversation, he said, hey, Lorraine, I've got these amazing products I want to share with you. And my response was, oh, no, here we go again. Crossed my arms, slid down the chair, thought, no way. And the reason why I reacted like that, thank you for that great introduction, because of my days at Gladiators and karate and also Russell Crowe, I obviously got approached a lot by different companies to promote their products. So I use many for my own health and wellness, but never I wanted to be passionate and share it with other people because I just didn't feel that about that. So when he said to me, you've got to have a look at them. He said, listen to my story. So he shared his phenomenal story, which you're going to hear soon. And he said it's been dubbed as one of the biggest breakthroughs of our lifetime, and it's native to the body. And I said, what do you mean by native to the body? He says, well, everything else we use, like herb-based, plant-based, organic, maybe synthetic, this is exactly what's in our cells that repair our body. So he caught my attention. And I remember driving home, he gave me a tube of gel. He says, go and take your photos, use it religiously, and we'll see how it goes. And I remember driving home, I think, I am going to prove him wrong that this doesn't work. I was skeptical as anything, but at the same time, the back of my head, what if this is the biggest breakthrough of our lifetime? And I did what he said, and I thank God I did. Took my photos, shook the tube, applied it on my face, on my chest and my arms, and people started to comment about 3 or 4 weeks later. So, what have you done? Your skin is like glowing. It's totally different. And I thought, wow, that's done that for me. So I took my photos and I could see a significant difference. girlfriends of my age would love to know about this. So that's how it started for me. I just got my photos and shared it. And I just remember that first $40 commission check, how much that meant to me. And I can feel this spark inside of me. Maybe this is it. I have no idea how to do it, what I'm doing. But I knew that if Dan was going to hold my hand to show me the steps how to do this, and I was willing to learn. Because also another thing I was struggling with is like, I knew how much work it was going to take. Even though the steps were simple, I didn't know if I could climb another mountain because I knew that was going to be hard work. But once that started and the ball got rolling and just meeting new people, it was just the passion started to grow. The purpose was there. The story started to happen, and obviously the income came in as well. So there it is in a nutshell.
That's awesome.
I love it. That's a fantastic story. And I remember you speaking from stage and talking about your daughters and talking about the struggles you were having and what it meant to have that money coming in and how it changed not just your life, but the lives of your daughters. And that's so.
Yeah, look, someone asked me a little while ago, look, where would you be without Asea? And when they asked that question, it's like, oh my gosh, that's a really good way to put it, because they definitely wouldn't be rowing this morning. They definitely wouldn't have been on a cruise, one of the trips that I won and got to experience that. They wouldn't have gone to Disneyland. And no, they just have more options and more choices. And that would have been, like that. If I take that away, it's like, well, yeah, where would I be? And I would have missed out on so much to see them glow and thrive and be these young women that they're becoming. And I know, and I'm very grateful for it, if it wasn't for Asea, they wouldn't have had that same sort of fulfillment they're getting now.
How long ago did you start? When was that time period, Dan, that you approached Lorraine?
2014 in October.
Now, did you only have the Renew 28 gel?
Yeah, that's all. No Asea liquid, just the gel. Yeah. So,
Wow.
I think it's a very powerful, because with the Renew, you can actually see the changes. With the Asea, it's different because it's more internal. You can share it with passion, whatnot, but people still can't see, in most cases, not all, the before and after changes, if that makes sense. But with the gel, it's my go-to every day.
Seeing is believing.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you see with it when it related to workouts, being that you had no liquid? So you would apply it generously right before you lifted or right before, because I'm a fitness buff, so I know what Renew does for my workouts.
Now, were you still training?
Question.
Were you still
I wasn't training
and all of that back? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not competing anymore, but I'm still very, very active. And I don't do testing anymore, so it's very hard for me to judge. But I do judge myself compared to other people the same age in the class, if that makes sense. So, they look at me like, what are you doing? How come you just so fit and healthy? And normally what I find, let's just say it's a circuit type of class, we all start off really strong. Maybe the boys and a couple of women are ahead of me, but then it kicks in, right? They're fatiguing, they're slowing down, and here comes Lorraine finishing strong. And I know that's because of the Asea, and I can back it up, get there the next day because the recovery is so good. But also what I love about the gel is to preserve my joints, the impact and what I'm putting on it. So religiously, it's on my knees, my feet, and I'm on those working hard muscles and joints that they're doing all that work. I just love exercise. It's just part of me. It gets my adrenaline going. And I think I'll always be doing it. So I want to do it for as long as I can. So I'm going to make sure I look after myself.
Yeah. Do you have your kids using it for the rowing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Always.
That's great.
And serum, right? They've taken the serum because they realise what it's doing, beautifying them. I always see tubes of serum in the girls' room. So, yeah, I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Lee, you had a question?
Yeah, I did. Lorraine, you've talked about in Australia, you had this, multi-year exposure with the gel before the liquid came in, and were you just describing your results with just the gel? This is a bit of a paradigm shift for those in the rest of the world who start with the liquid and then convert to the gel, who think that this is a systemic thing, and yet you're describing systemic results from a topical gel. Could you comment on that?
Yeah, so look, I grew up on the beaches of Australia, so the sun's quite harsh. And I used to put bug oil on, reef oil, anything to make that skin get browner or burn. And because as I aged, my skin, I paid for the price for that. So I was looking for something that could rejuvenate that skin as much as it could. So for me, it was just the topical gel. I thought, I'll just try that. And my skin just absorbed that. My body just needed that. It was the spark plug that it needed for that healing, or should I say, to rejuvenate, to make it get back, look youthful. So thank goodness I took the images, because as Dr. Maureen said, it's seeing is believing, and those images that I have are powerful. So that's how I started it.
That's great.
Tell us a little bit about who you were before Dan approached you. What is your background? Because it's rather impressive.
A very selfish, determined young athlete, young woman. I bet you Dan Doyle's laughing right now because he has seen my personal development growth since then, because I was an individual sport, right? But let me take you back. So I always had a huge passion for sport. Even when I was little, athletics, swimming, basketball, and I had a huge passion for Bruce Lee and his movies. And I always want to do martial arts. I want to kick, I want to do the nunchaku, I want to do this, everything that he does. And when I was 16, 17, I asked my mum and dad, and they wouldn't let me do it actually initially, because I thought, no, Lorraine, you're a tomboy, that's enough. No, you go and do other things. So when I got to an age where I could make a decision for myself, I remember going to try a few different types of martial arts. I went to judo and I tried taekwondo. And then I remember walking up these stairs at a karate dojo in Bayswater and had my 2 free lessons. And it's daunting, right? Because here you have all these senseis, Us and Ki, and 40 people in there. And here I am, probably low self-esteem, not really confident, going up these stairs to try her first class. And the reason what pushed me to go forward is I actually got followed home from school a couple of times, and I wanted to have that self-defense. So I did my first 2 free lessons, and then I didn't go back probably about 6 months later. And then I went back, and then I just loved it. And I remember being in my first probably 2 or 3 classes, it would have been instructors out the front, and I've got all these white belts. White belts are your very first where you start, and maybe a row of red belts, which is the next level that you go up. And he said, look to the left, look to the right, have a look around the room. And there would have been 40 of us. Only 1 or 2 of you will get to black belt. And I remember thinking, I don't know about anyone else, but that's me. I'm going to the top. And I'm one of those people, like whatever I start, I like to finish. And there was 2 of us from that class that started on the same day, and we finished, or not finished, but we got our black belt on the same day, and his name was Andrew Kawenko, and I still keep in touch with him today. And look, I can just say that, karate's done a lot for me, and discipline and commitment, motivation, what it means to be successful. But it's an individual sport, so you learn, it's all about me, right? All about me. I only have to worry about my preparation, my fight or my bout, what I think, everything's about me. Bring that into this business model, you need to change, because it's not about me.
Right.
And that was a huge learning curve for me. Yes, I wanted to get the top quick. Yes, I want to win those trips. That's a competitiveness coming out of me. But just through the great leadership we have, the company, it started to think, oh my God, it's not about me. And I can say that. I would never say that before, that how selfish I was. But now I love the personal growth. I love helping other people develop. I love to hear other people's stories, because it's a team. My team success is my success. And I know Dan Doyle, who you go, oh my God, she's a change lady. What is she doing? What is she saying? Because he is one of the very first people. And thank goodness, he's always been my rock. He's always had my back. And I really appreciate that. And so is Bart Cotter and Mal Sword, all those guys. Amazing leadership in Australia, well, overall, but I'm just saying they're the ones I have the closest connection with. So I'm looking forward to the next chapter. I'm triple diamond. I'm ready for the ambassador ranks. Let's go.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a great. Hang on, Jim. I just want to speak to that for a second, because that is such an important point about being selfish. And I think that's the problem that so many of us have, especially when you've been successful someplace else, like, Dr. Lee and I, as a dentist, as a physician. our careers were kind of based on our expertise. And I remember when I got into network marketing and my mentors would be like, you cannot write an order and make these people behave. It's it's a volunteer army. And that is, and I think that's that what Eric Worre talks about, that moment of kind of humility or stepping back, because it's not all about you. It is about building that team. And that is so incredibly important. And I love that you brought it up. And I love the fact that,
thank you.
yeah, with the help of Dan and other people on your team, you've just achieved so much and helped so many people. It's amazing. So thank you for that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's it's really interesting. It's so true about how not being selfish and and I'm willing to make those mistakes and those little failures or dents in your character, because I know that's the personal growth. That's something I've had to go through, if that makes sense. It had its purpose. I wouldn't have got to gladiators. I wouldn't have got to world karate champion if it wasn't for that. But now it doesn't have its place. So now it's time to, it's evolved so much. And I know there's so much more growth to go there. And I'm looking forward to that.
So I heard that you are a world karate champion.
I am, yes.
That's awesome.
I'm
Wow.
now though, okay?
5 what, Dan?
What does the 5 mean?
5 times?
5 times.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah.
I'll be very cautious.
Yeah, we don't
We're on
want
the
to
same
make
team.
you mad.
Yeah, right.
Make you mad.
Lorraine, there's a lot of people here that really don't even know what we're talking about yet. Could you just share real quick, how do you share what this is if you're talking to someone new? How would you share it with me?
Stranger.
If I'm, whether it's an acquaintance or someone
that's a
brand
really
new,
good
how would you
question.
go about doing that?
Oh, normally I'll listen to what their conversation is, but as I said, if I could share something with you that's having a huge impact on people's health, that has absolutely revolutionized the healthcare system, are you willing to have a look at it? Keep it really simple. And then they may ask a question, what is that? And I said, it's called Redox. Redox molecules, things that keep your cells healthy. Happy cells, happy you. Healthy cells, healthy you. So I really listen to the person and always just be open. Would it be okay if I shared with you something that's totally changed my health with ABC? Can I share it with you? No worries. If not, I just thought I would ask. Everyone does it differently, and it really depends on the conversation.
Yeah.
Lee, can you kind of throw, we haven't said anything as far as the disclaimer, but can you go ahead and throw that in and maybe give another example of what these molecules are?
Yeah, sure. And the disclaimer is an important one because this is not a drug. We're not a medicine. We don't diagnose. We're not treating diseases, and we don't make medical claims. Asea products are a supplement regulated in all the countries appropriately as such, and it is a cellular health vehicle to improve cellular function at the foundation level. That, as Lorraine just said, that is you get cellular functioning happening in a healthy way, then you become healthy because that's the downstream outcome of having healthy cells. So that's kind of the quick flyover.
Cool.
Oh, so you wanted me to answer it like that. Thank goodness we had him there, right?
Yeah, right.
So,
Well, that's a doctor,
really,
and then we have ordinary people.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll just go a little bit extraordinary. If people say, look, how does it work? I'll just say, if there's a rotten cell, we try to repair it. If it's really, really bad, we destroy it and give a new one. If there's lots of good ones, we make a lot more. And our body's ability to make that diminishes as we age. But now we have something that we can top up with that, which is called Redox molecules, and that's Asea. How's that? That better for an ordinary person?
That's good. That's awesome.
I love it. Simple is better. And then we can have them come on Friday night and listen to Dr. Lee give us the skin on the
science and all that. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
And that's a really important message for everyone, right? You don't have to know everything exactly. Just be you. Speak from the heart. And then you've got the tools and the people who can give them more science if you've got more science people. But in the day, just be you, just share your story and what it's done for you, that you have a solution, and just keep it simple.
Yeah. How excited were y'all when the liquid came to Australia? That's been a couple years, several years.
Yeah, that's a good question with how long we've had it for now. Maybe Dan can answer that.
Uh,
Was it
2000
2016?
Yeah, 2016 it was officially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it was
awesome.
officially launched.
So
Yeah, so
did
it's
that
had
make a
been
big
out for a while.
impact? Impacted
Oh,
you
it did.
quite a
We
bit
used-
once it
Yeah, we used to have we used to ship over 14 cases at a time before it opened up. Yeah, look, it just gives you a bigger, broader range of what people want. Because some people want the liquid and some people want the gel. And just personally, it made a huge difference because all of a sudden we had more access to it. We could drink more of it, and just the vitality, the sleep, and just the stories. I mean, honestly, it's truly incredible, and I just love the stories. The lives changed.
You know, what
So-
a great marketing plan too, because people were already hooked on the gel, because we
Yeah.
find, you know, people love the gel. It's like liquid gold, you know, we have it in every
Yeah.
room in the house.
Yeah.
And so getting them to understand the value of the gel, and they can't get it. They can't get the liquid. I bet when they finally brought it into the country, everybody was clamoring for it. So, you know,
Mhm.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Absolutely. Yep.
But you
Lorraine,
guys
what would
had
you?
amazing- Oh, I'm so sorry, Jim. You guys
No,
had
no, go ahead.
amazing stories just with the gel. I mean,
Yeah.
just from people absorbing it systemically, they were having
Yeah.
incredible health benefits just from that. I guess they were using large amounts. Is that right?
Well,
That's
I mean,
right. So, you know,
I was going to jump in, Lorraine. Before I started using the gel, I used to be ugly. I mean,
That's
made a huge
Jim,
impact.
what a
too.
difference.
Jim too. Over to you. Sorry.
That's funny.
yeah, look,
Lorraine, what?
for 2 years, we built a business on Renew 28, and I think the Cancun, the celebration of Virtus, and the top 10, a lot of them were Aussies, and we did that on Renew, which is pretty,
That's amazing.
pretty incredible. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's great.
What would you say to the young, healthy people that say, I don't need Redox? I have nothing wrong with me. What would you say to the young athletes?
May you never know what you could be preventing by using this on a daily basis. Because on the outside, you can see things that go wrong, right? You know, the color of your skin, something growing, whatnot. But the same thing is happening on the inside. And some things could be brewing and brewing and brewing for many, many years before it pops. So for me, may I never know, or may you never know what you're preventing by being on top of this or taking this every day. And we're exposed to toxins, even though you may not know it. As soon as you walk out of your front door, there's 100,000 toxins that you're exposed to. Put on top of that, foods, pollution, stress, pandemics, everything has effect on us. So crucial,
Yeah.
crucial.
How many more people are under stress today than where they were 2 or 3 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Many.
Look at Maureen. I mean, she's a wreck.
I'm a wreck.
No more weddings.
Too many weddings, too many,
Yeah, right.
too much flu.
Well, Lorraine, thank you. I don't know if you have to pop or if you want to stick around. So that was pretty awesome.
I'll just
Thank
mute
you so
myself
much.
and now I'll have a listen. Thank you so much, guys. I hope
Thank
that
Thanks
answers
again.
okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Lorraine.
you.
Hold on.
Take care.
Thank you.
So
Dan Doyle,
the
you're the
man,
rock
Dan
star,
Doyle.
buddy. You're a personal hero.
I could listen. I could listen to you guys all night and listen to Lorraine, you know, and her story and her talking. Just absolutely amazing. So proud of her, you know, former career, her current purpose-filled mission, what she's done for her girls, what she's doing for her girls. I mean, just amazing. So yeah, I could listen to you guys all night and her talking. But wow, her journey actually reminds me a little bit of Virtus, how he came from being a hardcore corporate businessman to having to soften up into the network marketing industry, and she had to do the same, coming from a gladiator and 5 times world karate champion to, as she said, personal development and the person who she is today, which is an amazing evolution, or you know, the caterpillar to the butterfly. Amazing
Yeah.
job, Lorraine. Love to hear can hear her all day, every day. Well,
You know, Dan,
yep.
your story is one of the most profound. Share it.
How it all started.
Sure. I mean, I tell it all day, every day, and probably told it 10,000 plus times. But as we know, everybody, and you know, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. So if you don't mind, I'll share my screen because.
Please. I like seeing those
Yeah,
pictures
they're
of who you were.
Pretty cool pictures.
And
The transformation's quite. We have new people all the time.
Yeah.
well, yeah, not going into a full presentation. So I'd like to give this a conversation. Obviously, we're talking about Asea here, the only complete cellular health company based in the world in Salt Lake City, who's come up with the single greatest health science, anti-aging and sports performance breakthrough of our lifetime. Plenty of reasons why people look at this, but for me, it was all about me. Lost my health many, many years ago, looking for a solution to my health, and I'll get into that. Just want to reiterate, though, what Dr. Osler said, because I always do before my story, that these products are not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. So high impact story. It's not the best story out there these days. I've heard plenty of better stories than mine, but I'm glad that my story helps. And anybody that wants to use what my story and YouTube videos, please don't hesitate to go to YouTube to Asea Dan Doyle and help yourself. There's plenty of things that you can use there. So let's go back to Sydney, Australia. I mean, it blows my mind talking to you guys and being involved in Asea, having this incredible new huge family, which I've had for 7 years now, because, if you came to me 10 years ago with Amway this way or that way, I would have looked the other way because I walked the other way or ran the other way because I didn't believe in this business model. I came from traditional business. But for the last 6 years, Suzanne and I have been literally traveling the world. We unfortunately haven't been to Australia for 3 years. The pandemic slowed us down in regards to our travels and getting back, but we are having fun here in Los Cabos in Mexico and plan to do a lot of traveling for the rest of the year. I was a kid who hated school, recognized that my parents working 3 jobs each wasn't the right thing to do, and then pushing me to continue to go on at school and higher school education. I rebelled, never did my homework, and distracted myself from playing sports. Like Lorraine, excelled, judo, gymnastics, rugby, surfing, aerobics. I was watching the Winter Olympics and we're watching the figure skaters, but Suzanne asked me, did you ever do any skating? And I was an incredible speed skater. So these are the things that we actually forget. And then I got to my late teens and early 20s and got into the sport of bodybuilding. So this is me when I was 24 years young. This is the start of me building traditional businesses. I started in the health and fitness industry at this time and built multiple businesses in the industry, and didn't know at the time, but I was to go on to build 20 traditional businesses in multiple industries like the construction industry, security industry, hospitality industry, and employed about 3,000 to 3,500 people over a 20-year period through all these businesses. So, but it was sort of like a linear income, because I would build a business, sell it, and have to start again. Build a business, sell it, have to start again. So it's pretty well, doing this. I was buying myself a job for 20 years. Thinking now I'd hate to see where I'd be now if I didn't go through the journey that I went on, but that's another story. So here I am having a great run in traditional business, very successful. Had the biggest crowd control security company in the country. We were going to actually take that public. That was a very big company. And as time went on, got to the point where I had 6 businesses in the early 2010, 2011. And fast forward through the 20 years of building traditional business from here, 24 to 44, not a bodybuilder anymore, but something I was conscious like Lorraine of is keeping fit and healthy all my life. So even though I wasn't a bodybuilder here, I was doing a lot of cardiovascular work, going to the gym at 6:30 each morning as I do these days. Back then at 44, I wanted to be the best version of a 50-year-old that I could be leading up to 50. And now at 54, I want to be the best version of a 60-year-old that I can be. And fortunately enough, I was in this condition. So 6 months later, I found something that wasn't quite right under my left rib, something that didn't feel right. I went to the doctors and he didn't like what he was feeling. I was sent in for scans and rang me urgently that night with some bad news. So 6 months after this photo was taken in 2012, this was the start of me going through what I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. So this is me on the right-hand side, 6 months after that last photo with no hair from the top of my head to my toes. And some days I literally didn't want to live with what I was feeling and what I was going through. It was a very tough time. Young Johnny Manor here, friend of mine, 21, played the highest levels of rugby in Australia. He had what the doctors would have considered to be the good one. I had two of the bad ones. And he was in remission at this time. After this photo was taken, he went back into hospital. They put him through things that made him lose a lot of weight, lost all his hair. Unfortunately for him, for the rugby community, for me, for his family, he never came out. We lost him at the age of 23. So that was a really sad time. And I'm thinking to myself, well, here I am, more than twice his age, half as fit. He had the good one. Doctors telling me I had two of the bad ones. What hope did I have? So I asked my doctors at the end of what they put me through, what was going to happen to me. And I said, you know, we had a relationship. It was like my second marriage. It was my wife, and then it was my doctor. We had many years of ups and downs, and my thoughts with what he was doing. But he literally told me to get my affairs in order when I asked him that question. So I made a decision at that point to take the responsibility of my health back into my own hands, as I took that from Dr. Maureen Hayes. So I stole that from Maureen. But that's what I had to do. And something that you say and that I recommend everybody now, you know, do something about your health before you lose it. Make sure you holistically look after yourself from every angle you can. So my research led to an alkaline diet. Now, here I am, the guy that really was brought up, if I was sick, our parents took us to the doctors, we had a couple of pills and we were fine. So that's where my head was. I had to move to things I didn't believe in, which was what I thought was quackery. Naturopaths, chiropractors, I mean, all homeopaths. I never believed in any of that, but I had to move to it. I had to change things. Went onto an alkaline diet. I spent a lot of money on nutritional supplements from different companies from around the world that people approached me with. These companies were companies that sold through this business model called network marketing. And it was very difficult for me to buy from these individuals that are involved with the network marketing because I never believed in the business model. So my headspace was, don't buy from them, people. So I did. Many great marketing products from a lot of companies. And for 2 years, religiously taking all of these products, predominantly only eating organic salads, vegetables, and deep sea fish. So as a pescatarian, kept my body in an alkaline state, and this was the result after 2 years. So my blood works were still showing that everything was heading in the wrong direction, and my doctors were still telling me I was still in a lot of trouble with my health. So this is now 2014. A friend of mine reached out to me, Bart Cotter. I remember the call like it was yesterday. I can just imagine Bart with all the excitement of finding out, you know, about this huge breakthrough and the potential of it and what it could do for me. And the only way I could describe it, he sounded like a kid in a lolly shop, super excited over this phone call. So I trusted him and I believed in him. And I said, okay, Bart, what do I have to do? And he said, you need to come to Salt Lake City. I had no idea where Salt Lake City was, but we organized to get on a plane and head to Salt Lake City. The great thing was that by this point, we were financially broke. We went from living in my parents' granny flat in their backyard after being married for so many years and going to a different restaurant every night to losing my health and then losing everything financially, to borrowing $25,000 off them, to buying a van, to seeing a little bit of Australia in this tiny, tiny van that we lived in on the road, and thinking it was only a matter of time. So we hadn't seen too much of Australia, so we thought we'd do a little bit of traveling. We made it look as good as possible on Facebook, but it was a tough time. A lot of people don't know we were living off credit cards too. Fortunately, we had a huge, incredible credit rating. So because of all my business, but end of the day, all that ran out, and a lot of people don't know we went bankrupt. And that was a very tough time for me mentally because we did have an incredible credit rating. I was successful in business, but overnight, it seemed like overnight, we lost everything. So I got on a plane and we flew to Salt Lake City. Thank goodness that the company, it was considered or qualified as a fly-in. Company paid for it. There's no way I could afford to travel or get over there. I called Mount Sword. He came with us. I said to him, listen, come on this trip. He had skin issues, severe skin issues for many, many years. So he came across with us, and we started on the product. Long story short, 3 hours, my body was expelling things from it so fast, little red spots all over my upper torso. Couldn't wait till I went to the bathroom. Didn't know at the time we weren't drinking enough water, but rubbish was coming out of my body, literally out of my skin. In 12 hours, literally the next morning, a 20-year caffeine intolerance, bloating, discomfort had gone away. Tested the product with 6 coffees, any more than 2, and was in a lot of trouble. So that seemed to have gone the next morning. The light bulb still hadn't gone on. It was a couple of days later. We went to a theme park to have some fun, and Mal and Bart and I, it was Halloween, I remember, and it was a zombie sort of, it was fun. You guys do fun. The theme parks you guys do is just amazing, especially in Halloween. So we're going to ride roller coaster rides and all sorts of things. But I jumped out of the car. We were one of the first ones in the car park. And I said to Bart and Mel, I just feel fantastic. And I ran about 100 meters across this car park, and I can literally run pretty fast. Now, if I ran like that 2 days before taking the product, 2 or 3 days before, I would have been on my hands and knees gasping for air because of what they did to me in that hospital and how it damaged all my lungs. But I remember stopping after that run, and it was like my lungs were breathing by themselves. I can't explain the sensation, but I wasn't huffing and puffing. And it was at that moment that I knew that we had something special with this product. So I went back to Australia, kept drinking the product. Unfortunately, with being broke, not being able to afford to scratch ourselves, and almost going to the Salvation Army at one point for food stamps, I could only afford a bottle a week, and that was tough. Now, you can just imagine, and you guys know, with someone going through something so serious, a bottle a week's going to do something, but a lot more product would have been way better. I didn't reach out to anybody. I didn't ask for handouts. I persisted with that. But I was getting results on the maintenance amount. So for 8 months, I put up with that, and just amazing how my blood works were improving on the way through. Fortunately, at the beginning of 2015, I started opening my mouth without knowing it, and apparently building a network marketing business. So the thank you checks started coming in, and what I do with them, I invested them back into my own health. So that gave me the ability to saturate my body with more molecules to get to more damage to signal my body to where the problem was. So let's fast forward 1 year on the product. And this is the day the doctors told me no sign of those 2 major challenges. And I mean, that was great. But what really blew my mind was the multiple injuries from playing sports, neck, 80% use of one hand and one shoulder, pelvis problems, back problems, hip problems. All these things had disappeared just 1 year on the product. I put up with a pollen problem for 20 years, sneezing, runny nose all day. That was gone by the end of 2015, just 1 year on the product. So that was a little bit about my journey back to health, touching on starting to share it with people with the network marketing side. 2 years later, you can see I'm looking younger again. And hopefully 7 years on the product, I'm looking younger again. I can tell you that, let me blow this up for you so you can see if I'm looking younger again. But that was an incredible journey. And, to get to where we are today, virus is going around. We're all very cautious of that. Actually, I had it around about a month or 2 ago. But the only time that I've literally been sick like that in the last 7 years was literally when I had to run my product down because we were traveling, or because we extended a trip, or because we're in a country we couldn't get the product. So what's that telling us? So that's that side of things. Obviously, there's the financial side, and I'm making a comeback from that. But I want to interact with you guys.
Yeah, I'd like to, one thing, you had an amazing response, and you were talking about, only being able to afford a bottle a week, but Dan, you had primed the pump. You had done so many other things for your body. And one of the things that we do know is that the more good you can do for your body, the bigger response you're going to get. So it's a little different. And I don't want people, some people get on the product and they don't experience anything, but maybe they haven't been on an alkaline diet, and maybe they haven't been supplementing, and maybe they haven't taken care of their body as an athlete. And so, it's going to be a slower progression. What do you tell people when you're getting started? Of course, you've got people like Lorraine on your team, who's an amazing athlete, but just the general person on the street, when you're getting them started, how do you share that with them?
As in getting them started on the product so they get results, so they have the belief.
Right.
I mean, the thing is supporting somebody and actually keeping in contact is the most important thing. Committing them to 3 months on the product, because we know with the company statistics that 15% of people will feel or see something within the first week, 30% in 30 days, 60 in 60 days, and 90% will feel or see something within 90 days. So I make sure that I sort of, I do everything on paper writing, and I make sure I do support these people. It's not like, hey, Maureen, I'm going to recommend this amount of product, and this is going to give you the best results from my knowledge, and this is my opinion. Good luck. See you later. Hopefully it works for you. So I'll make sure that they understand that they got into that condition from the environmental impact of, as we know, what they eat, drink, and breathe, the toxins they intake. For me, it was a horrendous weed killer that got into my system. And with that, I let them know, I say to them, when did you find out you had that problem? They'll say, in such and such a year. And I'll say, well, that didn't happen overnight. That took 5, 10, 15, up to 20 years for your cells to break down and come to the surface. So when we're going through this process over 3 months, and I want to keep in contact with you, just keep in mind that your cells are being detected one at a time as well, and your body knows where that cell is to deal with that cell. So it's going to be a process. But what we want to do is make sure that we work together so I can help you recognize your wins, your experience on the product, so you've got the belief so you can stay on the product. I know what it does. I've had my experience. I've got the experience with other people, but I want to make sure that you get your experience. And I just make sure, and I think that's what people neglect, not working with people close enough to make sure they see and recognize the results. If somebody says, hey, I only want to take the product for a month, I literally say, don't waste your money. I don't want to, that's going to do more damage than good. You just imagine someone running around your town, even your city. I mean, it's a small world these days, especially with what we're doing and how we're communicating. So you don't want someone running around a particular area saying, I'll try that for a month, it didn't work, because it could be a little old lady who needs it, heard about it, had a conversation with that person who never gets to try the product because of their experience. So I'm really careful and cautious with supporting people, doing a product plan that I believe is going to help them to get maximum results, and make sure that within 3 months they recognize something.
That's great. That's important, the 90 days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, what do you tell the people that have had a past bad experience with networking?
Yes. I'm a bit cheeky. I use that explanation or analogy that, have you ever gone to a bad restaurant?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it doesn't mean, if you had a bad meal at a bad restaurant, doesn't mean you don't go and, go to another restaurant. You ever seen a bad movie, cinema? Have you gone to another movie? So I sort of bring that in,
Did someone try that on you back in the day? What did it take for you? When you heard that this was networking, is it just that you trusted Bart, a really good friend? I mean, what was it?
I think I was burnt when I was about 21, 22, when somebody came into my bodybuilding shop, my first business, and they said, hey, we got this great product. It's a protein powder in a can. And I'm thinking, just traditional business, this is what it wholesales for. This is what you can retail it for. I bought $5,000 worth of product on a credit card. Half of it went expired and I had to throw it out, and found out later it was a network marketing business model. So that was my first experience with network marketing, with someone who really, and the margins weren't great, and it was a super expensive product, and you can just imagine, just does not work in a retail situation. But I didn't know better. I found out later that was a story. Just in regards to when I was sick, I got involved in a company that wasn't a product-based business. So that's where I met Bart, now Sword. And we liked that at the time because, okay, the word was it wasn't a product-based, and this was my first rodeo, but this is my first product-based network marketing company. We had a pretty good run with that, but that experience, as far as my first network marketing company, they moved the goalpost and our income suffered substantially. So from that experience back when I was 21, 22, with someone who sold me a whole heap of product that went off, half of it went off, to what we experienced with that company. You know, when Bart rang, I trusted him. It was all about my health. So I was grasping at straws. I was looking at something. And really, as much as I spoke to Lorraine, it was really 5 months after that I started on the product that I really jumped in, boots and all, to Asea. So it took 5 months for me to say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to share this properly. I'm going to build this business. And that was in February 2015.
Was that because of that experience that you personally had then, that you were able to flip that ideology?
It was my personal experience on the product that definitely, you know, and there was the fly-in was to meet Virtus, to meet the executives, to hear Tyler Norden talking about the ethos of the company, talking about, you know, don't want anybody involved that has ego and economics above principles and purpose, and going through that whole process. Them being successful in traditional business, that's where I've come from. So a lot of things resonated when it came to Asea. I mean, this is a company that, and I've dealt with so many companies around the world from a traditional point of view, but obviously with network marketing, but doing homework now, haven't seen the experience, the knowledge, the know-how. I mean, we know the capability of our founders and Virtus and Tyler and where they've come from. I mean, strategic business planning experts, which I absolutely love, came from Fortune 50, incredible executive team. I mean, you guys, our leaders, are amongst the best in the industry. And then we've got this incredible comp plan and ethos, which ties everything in. We tick every box. And I can't see any other company that can tick every box. They might tick 3 or 4 out of 5 or 6, but there's no company out there that ticks every box like ours. I mean, the breakthrough is huge. We don't have any competition. There's nothing that competes or compares with what we've got and what this can do. And 12 years in, we're still at the start. It's just amazing. I would have never expected that, you know, sharing this with a few people when I started back in the early days, that it would have led to where we are today. I recorded a little video saying I could never have dreamed, if somebody said that we'd be traveling the world full time, that would have ever happened. I mean, I'm the guy who is the most geographically challenged person on the planet, and now I know where everything is. It's amazing.
It's awesome.
You know, where I was, Dan, 6.5 years ago, at 58 years old, I had no hope. I didn't have what you had, but I've had, you know, a lot of discomfort on my back issues. What do you say to the people out there that have no hope, whether it be with their health or no time? No, very few people have time freedom. And then now with the financial freedom, what do you say to them? Because honestly, what we have sounds too good to be true. It sounds like the proverbial snake oil. It does. I thought that in the beginning. You just share your story, which is rather remarkable, but how do you convince them that give it a shot?
Yeah, you know, I still can't be a prophet in my own backyard, as we all can't. Even with my knowledge and experience after 7 years, I think this is important for everybody, still can't talk to my own family and friends. I'd need to get Bart in or Mal in or somebody, a third party. It just does not work. You don't want to risk that. There's people that get involved that says, hey, I've got a great relationship and rapport with everybody. And they go out there and they kick off, and they're not bringing people on because people aren't believing or trusting what they're saying, because, as you said, what we have seems like it's too good to be true. I took this from an executive many years ago. This is the most compelling opportunity, business opportunity or opportunity, that we will ever see in our lifetime. And there's nothing that I've done that comes close to, in traditional business, to what we have today. I mean, I looked at what I achieved financially last year, and that actually out-earned everything that I did in 20 years in traditional business, which just absolutely blows my mind with what I paid myself. And I did pay myself pretty well over all those years. So there's nothing that someone can say that's negative enough or that they can sidestep and get you around you. You should have something to say that can counteract, because there's nothing negative about what we've got, what we're involved in. And there should be always something, but you don't want to handle a conversation yourself. If you know if the people that you know, you don't want to be having a conversation and going into, I say to the guys, don't mention the word Asea, Redox, not that we're trying to hide anything, but as we know, they can go do a quick Google search, get into a third party. I call them world authorities. You guys are world authorities on what we do and what we've got. So as experts, specialists, but I've always used the words world authorities. And, Dr. Osler's a very busy man, but you really need to hear about this for the sake of you and your loved ones. I might be able to get him on the phone for about 5 minutes. No use hearing it from me. I don't know too much about the science, haven't been involved for long. You might as well get it from the horse's mouth, speak to the expert. So I'll still always move somebody that I know onto somebody else. Anybody that I don't know, I'm the expert. Whether, approaching them on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever it may be, go out there and vomit over everybody. Do your best.
So are you telling me that your own family they don't believe?
The $40,000 a year I'm spending on my immediate family, they're drinking the product because I buy it. But
and my dad says it only works if I pay for it.
Yeah, that's another funny story with when I sent it to my father initially. But would have my immediate family ever bought it for themselves? I don't think so, even though they saw me improving in my story. Because I suppose it goes back to what Mal says. Dad's got a bit of Scottish in him. That's probably what the problem is. But yeah, you just want to, as I say, you can be an expert with people that you don't know and move that person to an expert if you do know, even remotely, if you know them remotely. So if you stick to that and stick to the script, peak interest, come across a breakthrough technology that's helping people with their health, no matter what they're going through. People are getting experience with this. I don't know too much about the science, but my friend Lee's a world authority. Love to get you on a call. Very busy man. Take it away. Might be able to get him on the phone for about 5 minutes. We just keep it as basic as that. This is all about keeping this simple. Don't want to get caught up in analysis paralysis.
This may seem like a really silly question, but because of networking, but how thankful are you to Ed Weens and to Bart Cotter?
I owe my life to them.
Are you glad they called you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, Bart knew about something that he knew I was in a lot of trouble with my health that could help. But I'm sure in the back of his head, he knew that I could probably do something with this if I took hold of it. And it's just, I mean, with what we do, you've really got to enjoy the journey, and people at whatever level they are on their own journey, but, they're looking to get to where they want to go, where they need to go, their goals, their dreams, their targets, if they're involved in sharing this and building the business, but enjoy the journey. And a big part of my journey, what really magnifies and sticks out and is like that big glowing light is the time that I was with Mal and Bart in Salt Lake City. At a whole journey, that's what sticks out the most. And that was the beginning. But if it wasn't for Ed, it wasn't for Tammy and Chuck, and he goes, it wasn't for Danny, Trish, Alan, Sue, the company, I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
That's
great.
Just imagine if there's one person missing in that chain.
I know.
Always, yeah.
Blows my
Gives me
mind.
the chills thinking about that.
And it's the leverage of what we've got, the power of the model that still blows my mind. And that's the thing that's totally different to traditional business, that we can build and share this with, people in 33 countries, literally from the time that we become an associate.
Right.
And now, not many people understand that word. Can you kind of dig into that real quick? Leverage.
So in my traditional businesses, basically I had to depend on myself. I had some staff, but I was the guy who at the end of the day was responsible for making sure that the marketing was done, that everybody was getting paid, overheads were getting paid. I had the risk, and my leverage was as good as literally my team. So that could have been me by myself, could have been a team of 2, 5 or 10. I had over 1,000 staff with my security company. That was probably the best example of what I experienced with leverage, because 24/7 we were making money off an hourly rate of a security guard working out there in the field. But then there's all as I said, the risk, the overheads and everything. This business model, we've got a company that all we're doing is plugging into tens of millions of dollars worth of infrastructure. We don't have any staff. We don't have to worry about any stock or product or inventory. No overheads, no risk. And I started with one person I introduced 7 years ago, and it turned into 2. And then I remember there was 3 or 4 people coming in per week. I'm going, wow, this is exciting. And then that turned into 10 people and 20 and 30. I mean, there's literally hundreds now. It's just amazing what's happening these days. I remember looking at Denny Robinson's back office about 4 years ago and saw that she had 250, 300 people coming in per week. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is enormous. So this is the power of leverage. I mean, I'm one person. I introduced 80 people over 7 years, and that turns into over 30,000 people in 33 countries. That's leverage.
Yeah, that's great.
That's beautiful.
One of the things I like to share with people is when they say they can't afford it, they can't, maybe they need to take more product. You were at that point. Mal's got a great story, rags to riches story. What is some advice you can give some of these people that are on that to grow their business, that they can, this is the best model to either allow them to spend on more product or grow it to where they can leave the career they're currently at. Jim and I had to do it part-time and eventually turned into full-time. So what 3 things as we're ending the show could you advise to someone that wants to grow it and get it to where, as big as you've got it?
I mean, if you go back 4 years ago when I achieved Ambassador Triple Diamond, I had a goal to hit presidential within 1 year. A year later, so that was in December 2018. I mean, December 2021, that happened. So that was just keep grinding it out, and it was consistency. And I always say that consistency, persistence will get you there, and consistency will keep you there. So it was just important for me over those years to keep going. I had that goal, I had that target, and I wasn't going to give up. Obviously got bigger goals and targets, and bigger than the company again, including the whole network marketing industry. But I've seen a lot of people in my team that were just hanging in there and doing what I was doing. Some great examples recently, and just on some Director 700, bronze, silver, because of the way their structure was built. And all of a sudden, this one person comes along and they're a triple diamond. That didn't happen overnight. That took many, many years. So you just need to be consistent with taking the product. You take the product, it's scientifically impossible not to work. So you've got your health goals you want to achieve, and it can help you, I say, maintain, regain. And you've also got the business side, where it's very hard, because there's many times that I'm thinking, even with what I was doing and the relative success that I had, oh wow, this is just. But I think same as Lorraine, if you've got the work ethic, which you need, and the coming from sports was a big deal, because we had to be so disciplined. So we just brought the work ethic, the discipline. You don't have to be in traditional business or be an incredible athlete to have that, or to bring that across, or to gain that. It's something that you'll get through, as Lorraine said, growing, personal growth. But you just got to hang in there. I mean, I think anybody that doesn't stop, that doesn't give up, is eventually going to get there. But you've consistently got to reach out to people in the times that you've got outside of what you have to do in life, family, church, cash flow, whatever that may be. Don't sit there and watch television. Don't have your red wine.
Oh, Maureen.
Oh boy, you just hit Maureen.
You just lost me, Dad.
Oh man.
Have your red wine with, I don't know, when you're with your family at church, or I don't know.
After you hit your goals. There you go. We'll celebrate.
go.
I mean, so many
Maybe
things
that's
have changed.
The double diamond. I got to
talk about
yeah.
You talk about personal development. I mean, I gave up coffee for health 3 years ago. I gave up alcohol over 2 years ago, all to do with health, but being productive. So everything that I've done, I mean, I've grown in so many different ways as well. But, even though I am where I'm at, the thing that's changed and evolved and happened for me with the position I'm in, I don't have my goals that I'm focusing on anymore. Everybody else's goals are my goals. So I tell my team what to do, as in, here's your target. And I'm texting them all the time. And anybody that wants to achieve, their rank for the week, I tell them go for the rank above the rank they're going for. But I'm driving the team sort of more from that point of view. And, there's people that have been renting all their lives, and someone wants to buy a house at the end of the year. I'm going to help them do that. And I'm going to help them do that through what we do over the next 11 months. So, I'm focused literally on every single person in the team that wants to do this, personally mentoring people each week that really are doing well and want to do this. So, things change as time goes on. But initially, when you're building a business, you just need to be consistent and persistent. Reach out to as many people as possible. Has to be sacrifices, maybe with a little bit with your family. We'll take a little bit of time from there or here, and put in as much time as possible. Basically, more time. I mean, that's our investment. So only investment, time. Yeah.
Payoff comes later. Yeah, that's awesome.
I love it.
Maureen?
Yeah,
this is phenomenal.
You're one of the nicest people. You will help anybody. You've always been so open and loving and caring about everybody in Asea, not just your own team. And nobody deserves this success more than you do. I'm just so grateful that you've had such an amazing response with your own health and such an amazing story financially. I mean, it's just amazing.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
That's great.
Thanks, Maureen.
Yeah.
Can't wait
I want everybody to get to where they need to go, and you can just imagine the impact on. I mean, for me, with what I went through, I'm passionate about getting people back on their feet in so many ways. We've got the answer to everybody's problems.
But real quick on that, Dan, but what do you, because they have to do something. You can't carry all those people on your back. So they have to do what to gain what you've gained?
What I did, and I still do carry a lot of people. That's just something I've always done. I think you've got to think outside the square a little bit, and not see, for me, initially, people say, what did you do differently when you first started? Well, I didn't depend on anybody to build their business, which was going to build mine. I actually got into people's contact lists and had hundreds of names, which I had to fill in the white spots in my calendar. And I think that was a huge difference when I first started in the first 12 months. And I helped people build some big ranks without them doing much at all. But they gave me the gift of contacts to be able to build their businesses, which got me to where I wanted to go. So not saying to, create laziness, but
understand.
Kind of got him started, gave him a boost. Mm-hmm.
Give them an excuse to engage. But you've got those contacts, and even if that person drops off, you can be building their business with their contacts and still finding a leader under them somewhere to really drive this. So I still encourage the team to just imagine if you brought 20 people on board and say, hey, give me a list of your top, 10 most influential people. How many people's that? And you've got a list of 200 influential people. So if those 20 don't want to do anything, I'm going to do something with those people for them and give them an excuse to engage.
Yeah, you might uncover a big gem out of that.
So wrapping this up, we've gone a little bit long, but the Aussies aren't coming on tonight, but I guess you're on with us right now. How big is this going to be, Dan? Is it too late for people to get in? Have they missed, the big run up? Where are we?
The pandemic has created so many opportunities. As much as it's hurt a lot of people, there's been a lot of loss in so many ways. It's actually created opportunity, and that's the way people have got to look at it and life anyway, but turn those negatives into positives. I believe still that this is a perfect storm. I believe what's happening out there, as much as things are moving quickly and things are settling in around the world, we've still got ways to go. So the next 2 to 3 years is going to be amazing for Asea. I think we're just going to see a huge spike in sales and break more records there. And I still believe ultimately, and always look at it from Vertus Norton's vision, that he wants to see the company turning over $1 billion. And that's why I'm pushing so hard to make sure he sees that. But I believe that we can literally bypass Amway one day with what they're doing in sales, who's been number one for decades, because of all those reasons, all those boxes we tick. The breakthrough is just phenomenal, but everything else is going to keep this company going for not just decades, but centuries. And that's what Vertus and Tyler wanted to create and are creating, a generational company.
Yeah. Yeah. There'll be exciting stuff in April. Can't wait to see you. You'll get recognized in April, right? That's
that
exciting.
Convention. Yeah, that is exciting.
Yeah.
Lee, were you going to say something?
I just wanted to acknowledge, Dan, you're such a gracious, this has been such a wonderful interview and you're so inspiring. I appreciate you taking the time to be with us tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, as
Awesome.
I say to everybody, my time's your time.
Well, this is great.
Wow.
Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
Who
Maureen,
next?
anything you want to close up?
No, just absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for being on, and Lorraine as well. Such a great
Yes.
interview. Such great.
Yes.
Hey, who do we have next week, Jim?
That's what I'm wondering.
We have Carolyn Hoffman.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
fabulous. Yeah, I love it. So,
Yeah.
Dan,
This should be great.
thank you. You know what? I'm sorry we're not doing the after party. Could be fun.
Well, my heart is filled, Dan, with what you've shared.
Yeah.
It is just so awesome that you've lived it, you've worked it, you've done it. And now I will say you have complete time, health, and financial freedom.
Yeah.
That if this never came along, you wouldn't be where you are right now.
No, thank you. I just want to acknowledge you guys too. I mean, this call has been amazing and so supportive of so many people. I mean, tens of thousands of people over the time you've been doing it. So really appreciate you doing this and your support and the incredible guests that you have on this to help people to get them to where they need to go with what we're doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
We love doing it.
Well, guys,
y'all have a blessed weekend. A nice Valentine's coming up.
yeah. And so thank you, everybody. We will be back next Friday. We have it again, Dr. Carolyn Hoffman, who she's always been a wonderful person. A lot of people like really listening to her. So any last things, Lee or Maureen?
This recording will be up at redoxmatters.com within an hour or two. So hopefully you'll be able to watch and listen to it several times. We got a lot to learn.
And share it with others. Everybody needs to be made aware of this.
Yeah.
If it's not for us, people won't know about it.
Right.
So guys, thank you so much. Thanks, Danny.
Don't
Yes.
forget the chocolates and roses.
You too, buddy.
She'll get them.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Love ya. Bye-bye.